I'm Canon Betsy Randall. I have been called to be the new canon to the ordinary for the Diocese of Oklahoma. And primarily I'm excited about helping Bishop Polson's vision unfold, which is vital congregations. And that is accomplished by lay leadership, which is clergy supported. And I'm in leadership development over the ordination process. I deal with transitions. If there are conflicts, I come in a prayerful way and work with congregations that might be experiencing that, and hopefully they will come to a new point in their growth. I love working with Canon Steve Carlson and his ministry partners, and they are doing wonderful work in vitality. So all of us on the executive team, of which I'm a member, are working on congregational vitality. When I got to UT Austin, I was set up on a date for a football game, and and this really cute boy came to get my UT ID to get tickets, and he asked me to take a walk. It was nighttime, and we walked just to the end of the block by my dorm and sat down on some steps, and I looked around and I was like, it's scary here. And I think what I really meant was, I don't know you, it's dark, and nobody can see us. And he said, no, it's not scary. This is the Episcopal Church. This is my church. I'll take you there. And I thought, this is kind of moving quickly. He's going to take me to church. He did take me to church eventually, and I ended up married to him. Yeah, I'm married to Gardner, and he's a cradle Episcopalian, and his dad and his father before him. And I always say this is his fault. But really, it took a while to hear the call from God to ordained ministry. We ended up getting married, moving to Dallas, and saved money as quickly as we could. We bought a house. Life was great. And it was interesting. We went to church when we could, which was, we were having the time of our lives as double income, no kids, young, newly married. And I remember going to a fellowship event at the church that was near our house, Episcopal Church, St. James in Dallas. And I had noticed this woman in worship before, and she was always so joyful and had this kind of abiding peace. And I remember at the fellowship event, it was a dance. Can you believe that? It was a church dance. Hey, maybe we should start those up again. And I remember thinking, she is just so joyful. So I turned to somebody at the table and I asked her, tell me about Pat, was her name. Tell me about Pat. And turns out, she's been through so much. She just was diagnosed with lung cancer. Her son was kind of going into the darkness of addiction. Her husband had just lost his job. And I remember thinking, I would not be like that. I want what she has, because I knew that life wasn't always going to be, so fun as it was at that moment. And that was kind of my first, there's something I'm missing. And so that next year, my father-in-law, who was 53 at the time, got cancer. And he was in Kingwood, Texas, with my mother-in-law. And just the center of our family, a robust faith, always praying, joyful, same way. And not only did I see his joy in the face of a really scary illness and a very debilitating, the treatments were very harsh, I saw the faith community come around him. And I had never seen that before. And then when we were coming from Dallas to Houston a lot, they took care of us. They picked us up at the airport. They fed us. And by his bed were always fellow parishioners or clergy and enjoying one another. And I watched him die with peace. He did die the next year, but with a conviction that I thought, again, I won't have that. The night prior to his death, we rushed in, and he said to us, go to church. And we said yes, but I already knew. I already knew with my experiences, and I had always been attracted from the moment I walked into the Episcopal Church. There was something there was a mystery I couldn't solve, but I just enjoyed. The sacraments, the liturgy, the music, but I hadn't gone deep in the spiritual life. And after his death, I got really serious. Explored the faith biblically, theologically, historically, just really in the midst of all that grief. And one year later, I was sitting there waiting to be confirmed, and my husband realized, oh my gosh, Dad died a year ago today. We didn't realize it until the day of my confirmation. And I also realized that moment, I'm like, the church is way more than I realize. It's the church in heaven and on earth. And so, and now, when we were walking out after my confirmation, I have a high view of confirmation because of this. I looked at Gardner when we were walking out, and I said, what are we supposed to be doing? And he goes, we're going to lunch. I was like, no. I just felt so, no, he was very literal. We did go to lunch, but I had this sense suddenly, I'm supposed to be giving. And I mean, that's at the heart of who God created us to be, is self-gift. That is who his Son is, as one who pours out his very life for us so that we might have new life. So I spent a lot of time. First, I think I was the nursery coordinator. In the meantime, I had 2 kids, 2 boys, Benjamin and Jonathan. And you ask about my call, I'm finally here. So I went, nursery coordinator, chalice bearer, vestry, strategic plan for the pair, everything I could do. And I just wasn't quite, it's like there's something more I'm supposed to be doing. And I wish I could be more articulate about this, but all I can say is I was driving down the road with my kids in car seats. The littlest one was like 3 months old. And I stopped at a red light, and I was minding my own business, really. And all I know is when I started driving again, I was called to the priesthood. I cannot tell you what happened, but that began my world-class wrestling, because I had no language or experience to articulate ordained ministry, because I had not been availed to that story of call, deep biblical, I just didn't have it. So I kind of kept it to myself and wrestled, and finally told Gardner and wrestled some more, and finally went to my rector, and I made an appointment with him. I was terrified. And I went in and I said, I think I have postpartum depression, because I had this little baby in the carrier seat. And he was like, are you mad? I said, no. Are you sad? No. And he said, well, then why do you think this? And I said, do you think God tells people to be priests? And he was like, yes, I do. And that began his really encouraging me to take a deeper dive in the spiritual life, spiritual direction, and confession, and all the spiritual disciplines. And that really helped, but I continued wrestling and refusing to go through discernment. I wrestled for 5 years, and finally, you know what? It was good. God really helped me grow up spiritually and emotionally too. So by the time I agreed to go through discernment, I was ready, and I was a lot more mature, and it's been the joy of my life ever since. So this is a place wide open to the Spirit, and change is, you can feel it. The excitement over clergy supporting laity to go out and do creative things, the vitality grants. It's creating a collegiality between clergy when we talk about our lay leaders and what's going on, and the collegiality. Yeah, just it's really evident that there is an openness to a new season for God's call to us. There's that, and by the way, Oklahoma is awesome. It's a beautiful place, and Oklahoma City's fun. I'm sure Tulsa's fun. I get to go there soon. And I love the camp. So yeah, it is a place of action and change and an openness to God's call to us.